What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another one of my final position videos for the 2026 NFL Draft. And today we got interior offensive linemen. So a 2-for-1 deal. We'll look at the guards and the centers. And honestly, these guys farther down my list, I'm going to tell you right now, probably a lot of them I would not draft. And if I would, it's like in the sixth or seventh round, and I'm not particularly too excited about them. So I'm not going to talk about it much. I'll say a couple of the flaws and I'll keep it moving because we got a lot of names to go over today. So let's go ahead and hop straight into it. And like I said, Jeremiah Wright out of Auburn, someone I am not drafting, was not particularly good. Gave up 5 sacks, 21 pressures. He got dominated at the attack point a lot. He's not very physical either. He's got the long arms, but there is not a lot I'm excited about with Jeremiah Wright. And he's 25 years old. And a lot of that can also be said for Alex Harkey out of Oregon, another guy, 20 pressures given up, except he gave up or he had I guess I should say 9 penalties, which is way too many for what you would like. He did play tackle, so I guess I will give him a pass there because tackle numbers like these are kind of similar to Caden Proctor. Proctor didn't have that many penalties though, but similar pressures. But yeah, another guy that's 25 going to have to probably move positions definitely because of the arm length is way under the threshold. Just not a guy I'm probably drafting. Delby Lamu, hopefully I said that right, out of Dartmouth College, which good luck getting a ton of tape on this guy. It's a lot of highlights for those addicts on X that just grind the offensive line tape, which he had some pretty good reps. He's very physical, almost a 99% win rate. Um, Only 6 pressures, given up 1 sack, 2 penalties. He was very good, and he played left tackle, which I think is even more impressive. But it looks like he's probably moving into guard at the NFL level because of the shorter arms. But he was a very good tackle. I mean, this past season for Dartmouth, which I don't know what type of competition they face, to be honest with you. But I mean, he does have to switch position. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if he's played guard before, but just considering the school and the overall lack of size and athleticism, a guy that maybe like if you took a flyer on him on the seventh round, I guess I can understand because the tape and the production were pretty good. But me personally, probably not. UDFA pickup. Kobe Baines out of Kansas, and I guess I can really talk about, really, we'll go ahead and talk about all these honorable mention guys in the next tier from 16 to 23, because like I said, it's already a long video. You got a couple good athletes in here, like Dylan Wade, I think tested particularly well. Evan Biernston out of Northwestern, the vertical was pretty good, so he is pretty explosive, and he's one of my favorite out of this whole group, to be honest with you. Josh Thompson, I couldn't find much on him for testing numbers, so he's just a mystery. I mean, based on the tape, I don't think he's the most unathletic player I've ever seen, so that's a plus. But I would say by far out of this whole group, I also like Inez Cooper out of Miami. His only problem is, which he does have really long arms, but his overall lack of play strength is an issue to me. I mean, 12 reps on the bench, and it shows up really in the game with a 97.5% win rate is better than really what you would think when you're watching him play because he definitely lacks power and can get moved off the spot easily. Had 8 penalties as well, which playing next to France Noah and James Brockemeyer, you feel like you probably shouldn't have that many penalties playing next to a solid center and the best overall tackle in the draft, in my opinion. So that kind of alarmed me too with the penalties. But like I said, a lot of these guys are solid. If you want to start considering taking them in the sixth or seventh round, I'm fine with that. I would say probably Thomas Rymack, excuse me, out of Virginia Tech is the first one I'd listen to a conversation of taking in like the fifth, maybe even the fourth round because he's got the long arms for a guard. He is a taller guard at 6'6", which I typically don't like. Maybe some team tries him at tackle with the overall play strength with 29 reps on the bench. Incredible. 31-inch vert. Incredible. 4.95 with the 166 10-yard split. Incredible. He just really is a freak athlete. And I mean, like I said, I really wouldn't be opposed. I mean, this past season at VA Tech, he played 164 reps at left tackle, 117 at right, then majority at 440 at guard. So really a guy, if I drafted him, I really think I'd probably try him out at tackle now that I think about it more. So maybe he could have been in my tackle rankings, but he does primarily play guard. So I guess we can also consider that as well. But yeah, definitely someone that is very close to making my top 150. Didn't, but a guy I probably would be willing to take in the fifth round. All right, let's go ahead and talk about 11 through 15 before the top 10. And you got some solid names in here. And this is where the names start to make my top 150, starting at 12 with Fabechi Nanwu out of Oklahoma. But let's talk about a couple guys before we get to that. And I guess the three before. Man, this name always, the first name, Armaj Reed Adams. Easy enough. There we go. Out of Texas A&M, another tall guard, the same exact build as Rymax, 6'6", 317 pounds. I couldn't find Rymax age, honestly. I have no idea. If I had to guess, I'd say he's either, yeah, I mean, sometimes college can be weird for guys. I would say 23 to 25, if I had to guess off the top of my head. But Adams, I think, is slightly better. He's not the same level of athlete, but just overall, like I felt better about the tape. I think the play strength is a little bit better when like I'm really looking at these numbers, and with the versatility of potentially playing tackle, even though I think he is limited to a zone scheme, he didn't have the penalty problems that people like DJ Campbell and Amarj Reed Adams had. So, like I said, I am pretty known at this point, I guess, to y'all as a guy that really can't make their mind up until it's finally time to where the foot is down and I have to make a decision. So I think Rymack with the overall best better athleticism and best out of the three, um, and just overall not having a penalty problem for two guard guys like Campbell and Reed Adams. I think actually I would prefer him a little more. And like I said, I really do value that he might be able to play tackle. But I will say the road up is going to stop here for him because I think the top 13 Bo Stevens is literally my number 151 player. So it's like he missed the 150 by one spot. But it does feel like a step up with the next group, talking about 11 through 13 with Billy Schroth, Fabechi Nanwu out of Oklahoma, and Bo Stevens out of Iowa. Bo has the problem with arm length, which even for a guard, it's pretty short, which is kind of worrisome, I guess. And he's not the best athlete in the world, but man, he's got a lot of power in his game despite those shorter arms. I mean, he utterly dominated this past season. Here, I'll go ahead and show it to y'all. There's their numbers out of the three. All three of these guys were elite. I will say Billy Schroff played by far the least amount of snaps at 436. Bo was at 682, and then Fabechi played all over the interior with that's got to be over 800 to 900 snaps right there for him playing this past season at Oklahoma. I would say out of the three, I would say the play strength. Man, it sucks none of them benched. I don't even think Billy Schroth got invited to the combine, or at least he didn't test out. I would say Fabechi's probably the strongest, but by far the least athletic out of the three as well. They're like no explosiveness, really, no pop off the line, but he does have long arms, excuse me, so it's easy for him to reach out and get people early. And like I said, he's got good power. So once he gets you, you're not going anywhere. So I do like him quite a bit. And Billy Schroth, I would say, is definitely the best athlete out of the three, in my opinion. Relatively good power as well, and just was really dominating. But he unfortunately missed a couple games due to injury this past season at Notre Dame, but was definitely one of the best pieces on that offensive line. Man, I don't know where y'all live at, but allergy season for me in WV. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the top 10 before we get into the center prospects. Starting off with, I'm trying to remember. I want to stop here. I feel confident about stopping here. Here, let me just see what colors that. Yeah, I'm going to stop here, 8 through 10, because these are guys that fall in anywhere from 101 to 150. Majority of them are at the back of 150, though. So let's talk about him. Jaden Roberts out of Alabama. He really could have been in the same tier as the guys I just talked about because I'm pretty sure he is attached on my big board to Billy Schroth and Fabechi. So yeah, Roberts has overall good size, 6'5", 335 pounds. He is pretty strong, 25 reps on the bench, got pretty long arms at over 33 and a half inches. And yeah, like I said, he's not going to wow you with his overall athleticism, but he's another guy, like I mentioned, also missed time like Billy Shrout. So it's kind of funny they ended up next to each other. But just overall, just dominating tape while he was on the field. Alabama's offensive line definitely took a big time step back once Roberts did go down to injury. So yeah, I mean, just a guy that can really abuse you with his power, and his penalties like he's got good hands. You don't got to really worry about the penalties, and he's just overall a really, really good player. He just needs to stay healthy. Brian Parker and Cage Casey, also kind of funny. They ended up next to each other because they both played tackle this past season. Casey played left tackle for Boise State, and Parker played right tackle for Duke. But I think both of them, the overall athleticism is pretty solid. I feel like they both kind of lack anchor and power at tackle, which their arm length's not terrible. Like it is good enough to play tackle, but just the overall strength in their game, and like I said, the overall anchor to me I definitely would prefer them going into guard. But Parker, I mean, definitely is pretty strong. He just has to clean up his game a little bit. His feet can get slow at times, and I think that's a good representation of the 20 pressures allowed this past season. But Casey definitely overall, like I misspoke talking about Parker, but Casey definitely does lack power in his game and the overall just ability to set up shop. I think both of them would be way better suited to take interior jobs at the NFL level, but not like center. Like I think they are guards at the level. I think Parker could play center, but I wouldn't make him. Like I'd prefer him at right guard if I had my choice. All right, let's talk about the top seven who are all top 100 players for me, starting off with number seven, who is Micah Morris out of Georgia. Micah Morris to me is phenomenal. I don't know why people are so down on him. I don't ever see him getting mocked in the third round. I think he should be a third round pick. 6'5, 346 pounds. The arms are long. The athleticism is good. A 1.73 split off the 10 yard at 346 pounds is really insane. 29 reps on the bench. He's strong as an ox, 112-inch broad, which is just unreal. Like, and when you look at the overall tape, the dude is dominating. Like 800 snaps this past season for Georgia, a 98% win rate, three pressures allowed, zero sacks, and three penalties. He didn't allow a sack his whole tenure in college at Georgia. So it's like, I don't understand why he gets no love to go in the top 100. He's got the athleticism. He certainly has the power. He has the size. He has the arm length. I don't know what I'm missing here, really. I don't. Maybe should have muted the mic for that one because that was rough. But oh well. Let's go ahead and go to number six, who is going to be Jalen Farmer, who really tuned his game up at the Senior Bowl. He looked like one of the best overall offense linemen the whole Senior Bowl week. The tape is a little shaky, which I think that could be contributed to Kentucky just really not having a good offense line. Same thing with Cage Casey. Like his flaws normally come from trying to cover for other people making mistakes. So I do want to point that out. But yeah, Farmer was really, really dominant at the Senior Bowl, in my opinion. A very good athlete. I think he ran the fastest time for an offensive lineman. Give me one second. Whoa. But yeah, overall, really long arms, great athlete. He does lack strength at times. He can get pushed around a little bit, which reflects in the win rate. Gave up 13 pressures, but like I said, largely due to a sorry offensive line, in my opinion. But yeah, I think Jalen Farmer definitely also should be a third round pick. A lot of people's big concern with Farmer, everyone for some reason thought he was 24 or 25 years old. Turns out the dude's 22. So that's a huge bonus for him. And I think he could end up going in the top 75. But let's go ahead and talk about my top five before the centers. Like I said, number five is going to be Jennings Dunker out of Iowa. Played right tackle for the Hawkeyes, the Iowa Hawkeyes, Iowa Hawks. I don't know why I'm blanking so bad. Iowa. We'll just say Iowa instead because I want to like I want to look it up almost. I don't know why I'm blanking so bad. Y'all will let me know if you made it this far in the video. Jennings Dunker is a weird one. He is a pretty solid athlete, pretty explosive, good power. He is a great run blocker in my opinion. Can climb the second level at an elite level. To me, he just has no type of power in his game whatsoever. And that kind of does scare me in a sense because, like, man, he can get pushed off the line and bullied. He got put on his back by a linebacker. I can't remember who they were playing off the top of my head, but yeah, the overall play strength and power really does scare me. But he is so intelligent and smart and so athletic and is so good at identifying where he needs to be and where to attack in the run game that I think somebody's going to take this dude in the top 75. And he's, I mean, largely projected in the second round. I wouldn't take him, me personally, I wouldn't even draft him in the top 75, but second round, or second round is just way too early to me. But well, we'll see where he goes on draft night, but I would say he probably is the fifth. But like all three of these guys are pretty close in my ranking, so it's not really a big separator. I think the top four though definitely do separate themselves. Let's just talk about them all. Oh well, y'all know the names. Number four for me is going to be Chase Besantis. He does have shorter arms, but he's a very good athlete. He's very strong. Um, Overall, he had a really good year. 8 penalties does scare me a little bit. He does get handsy at times, but I mean, only one sack allowed, 12 pressures. And like I said, the overall athleticism and play strength is by far enough to warrant this guy going in the top 50. He's right outside my top 50 personally, but I like Chase Besantis a good bit, and I can see why he will be a second round pick with the overall tape. Just worry about the arm length just a tiny bit, but he's like literally maybe 1/4 of an inch under the threshold, so not so much compared to a couple other guys. Number three for me is Keelan Rutledge. I love Keelan Rutledge game. He had the scare last season with almost having to get his foot amputated, but he played the whole entire season and he looked really athletic and great for Georgia Tech. So I'm not worried about that at all. It seems like that is now in the past. He is a phenomenal athlete, but really strong. He is definitely a mauler. He finishes blocks. He will hit you after the play's done, which I kind of like in a offensive lineman. You want those guys to be physical and have that tenacity. And very similar to Besantis, he just is very well rounded overall. 99% win rate, 8 pressures allowed, 0 sacks, and 5 penalties. The penalties needs cranked down a little bit, but like I said, he is very physical, and that's what I look for in an NFL guard. All right, number two is going to be Emmanuel Pregnon, who did end with a top 32 grade for me. So technically a first round pick. I view it as a second round grade though. For me personally, but Pregnon was really good this past season. The only thing that kind of scares me, I guess, about Pregnon is he really had no collegiate success before this year, which, yeah, some people do just tend to break out later, but he is 24. So it's like he is older than a lot of the competition he's playing. But the more you watch the tape, like he has a lot of intangibles that do translate. With the overall athleticism's good. He's one of the most explosive, if not the most explosive interior offensive linemen in the entire draft. He's got great power, 99% win rate is just unreal. With just it really shows in the tape too. Like he can put defensive tackles on their backs quickly and just maul them. So that is something I also like. But yeah, just overall, Pregnon, really good player. His only downside is he's older and only one good year of tape. But I would consider taking this dude multiple times in the first round to be a plug and play starting left guard, like the Bills, like the 49ers, like the Texans potentially, if you don't feel great about Wyatt Teller and Evan Brown, like the Chargers or Steelers, preferably those two. So, yeah, I like Emmanuel Pregnon quite a bit. But number one definitely is Vega Ioane for me out of Penn State, by far the best. He's a great athlete. The power is unreal. 100% win rate, which is just nuts. I don't know if I've ever seen that before in my really 3 or 4 years of making these spreadsheets like this, or second year making them like this, but I've been making spreadsheets for like 3 or 4 years by now. But yeah, just overall, he's very dominating. He's got the athleticism, the IQ is insane. I mean, Penn State had this dude lining up at slot, motioning them, and just laying out linebackers and edge rushers. I mean, he is one of the smartest guards you'll see. He's a really good dude off the field, which gets a bonus for me as well. You always see him helping out people. He helped out the equipment manager last year when he was struggling pushing the cart up the ramp. So it's like he's just overall a really good dude. But when he gets on that football field, you see the tenacity and the play strength really pop. So I like Vega Ioane quite a bit. Let's go ahead and go over to my center rankings. And spoiler, there's only 11 guys, so you're going to see all of them off rip. I'll just start by saying James Brockermeyer and Bryce Foster. If you want to take them in the seventh round, I'm not too mad. Not going much earlier. I think the step up happens at Pat Coogan, but I'm not the biggest Pat Coogan fan in the world like a lot of y'all. He got utterly destroyed by, oh my God, Miami's defensive tackle. I'm blanking on his name. He was almost in this draft class. He got like some top 50 hype because of the national championship. He was like damn near the best player on the field. I'm totally blanking. Maybe my brain's not awake yet, but y'all know exactly who I'm referring to. Will likely be either a first, second, or a third round pick next year in the draft. Hopefully he doesn't get injured or anything to tank that, but yeah, you know who I'm referring to. I'm just mind is going blank. But yeah, Pat Coogan really got dominated in the national championship. Overall, he had a solid year, and especially for playing over 1,000 snaps with only 10 pressures, 0 sacks, and 2 penalties allowed, which was really good. But the overall athleticism is solid. He didn't test out. I don't even think he got invited to the combine. And like I said, he is pretty undersized, hand and arm size wise, but 6'5", 310. I mean, we'll see. Definitely is a day three pick to me. And so are the really, I mean, day in terms of day three picks, 4 through 8 are also. In terms of top 150 for me, Trey Zune to Sam Heck do qualify. Jager Burton and Parker Braceford for Alabama do not. Burton is just an older prospect. He is a good overall athlete. He does lack some power in his game at center, which, and again, he's playing center, so maybe not the most important thing in the world. And Parker Bracefield is just overall lacking size. 6'2", sub 290 pounds at 289. He's a phenomenal athlete, though, so it's like there are some undersized centers, like being successful in the NFL. The most notable, obviously, being Aaron Brewer for the Dolphins, who's like 275 pounds and arguably the best center in football. But yeah, I mean, overall, he really doesn't lack the play strength with like the 98 win rate. And he's, like I said, he's a great athlete. He does get a good bit of penalties for being a center, which that should be highlighted red. I'm not sure why it's not. We'll go ahead and fix that. But yeah, I mean, Brailsford, like I said, him and Burton, I'd probably feel comfortable in the fifth or sixth round. But the next guy's really 6 to 1 up. Definitely fourth round or better. It is a really good center class. So if your team needs a center, it's a good year. Trey Zune is a weird one out of Texas A&M because he played left tackle and center, mainly left tackle though for the Aggies. So it's like I don't know where Trey Zune plays because I don't love him at center at 6'7", 312 pounds. But it feels like that's where the NFL likes him, which the tape did look solid when he did move into center. But just overall, he's so damn big. And the arm length is only 1/8 off of being able to play tackle. It's almost like, do you try him at tackle? Really, he's a five position type of player. I want to point that out. So that definitely has its value. And I think really no matter who drafts him, you can find a role for Zoom because he is that good of a football player. But in terms of just pure center, I think the top five definitely are better. But like I said, maybe someone drafts him to play tackle. Maybe someone drafts him to play guard. The play power is lacking a little bit. So maybe that's why they want to kick him inside to center potentially. But we'll see. The dude's 6'7", 312 pounds. So it's like that. That's just weird to me to have him all the way inside at center. But number 5 and 4 for me are pretty similar in Sam Heck and Matt Gublin out of Michigan State and Kansas State. Very similar builds, similar weight, same age, similar size. They are kind of clones of each other, except I got to see Sam Heck test out at the combine, and he's a very good athlete like we saw on film. Matt Gublin, I'm not saying is a bad athlete, but I think he definitely has more power than Heck. But Heck definitely has him beat overall in the athleticism category, which I also think Heck just overall is a better run blocker than Gublin. But both guys I'd probably take in the fourth round. And the numbers were really good for both of them, and they played similar amount of snaps. So two guys that are very close on my big board. But the top three certainly separate themselves, and 2 and 3 for a fact are back to back on my big board. And Logan Jones and Jake Slaughter out of Florida. Slaughter 6'5", 305, 23. Jones 6'3", 299, 24 years old. Very similar athletes. They tested damn near the same in everything. So I guess you give the nod there to Slaughter because he is a little bit bigger, 6 pounds heavier, 2 inches taller. But overall, like I think the play strength is really similar. The thing that separates them is Slaughter had 7 penalties, and for a center, that is very bad. Jones had 0. Like Jones' game is pretty flawless. Granted, he plays on a good offense line with like Bo Stevens, Jennings Dunker, and obviously the boys on the left side as well. So it's like I don't know. I kind of like they are both top 75 players, I believe, for me. If not, they're one or two spots out of the top 75. But yeah, I mean, definitely guys I feel comfortable with if you are center hunting taken in the third round, but I wouldn't go earlier. Like there is a strict range for me, starting, I guess, really with the Titans at 66 onwards to where that's where I start to think about drafting them as long as my top center, Connor Liu, is off the board. Connor Liu's coming off a devastating injury. I believe he tore either his Achilles or ACL. I can't remember which one. But he is overall a good athlete when he is healthy. The size isn't an issue, and he's super young. He's 21 years old, so by far the youngest center in this class. Good overall size, good arm length. And I mean, really entering the year, some people thought Connor Liu was going to go in the first round myself included. He really was that good of a center prospect. He started off the year fine. Like I said, four pressures, not bad at all. Two sacks given up was a little much. Three penalties, also more than what you would like to see really halfway through a season. Then the devastating injury. But like I said, man, looking at the 24 tape and really the 25 tape wasn't terrible before he got hurt. I do definitely see a borderline second round pick with Connor Liu. Definitely like the Texans at 59, the Vikings at 49. There's multiple spots where I would definitely consider taking Liu in the second round, but probably preferably the third, to be honest with y'all. But yeah, that's going to be my interior offensive line rankings. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. And we're going to take tomorrow off. Monday, we're going to do a mock. Then Tuesday, I will be back with defense tackle rankings. So stay tuned.